Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating mechanics and the psychology of true wealth building. We are going to pull back the curtain on the exact numbers the financial industry rarely talks about. And honestly, we're going to uncover why building life-changing wealth is actually incredibly boring.
Right off the bat, I want you to picture two people opening their banking apps on a typical Monday morning. Person number one earns $140,000 a year, but they're staring at a panic-inducing $800 in checking. They are stressed out and literally counting down the days until payday. Now, contrast that with person number two, who earns just $54,000 a year. They open their app and see 47 grand sitting securely in savings and investments. Complete, total financial calm. This brilliantly proves a really important point. A high income absolutely does not automatically equal financial freedom. But, why does this happen?
Well, the answer lies in a psychological trap known as hedonic adaptation. This is this automatic psychological recalibration, where luxury just becomes your new baseline. High earners fall right into this invisible trap all the time. Every raise, every bonus, it vanishes because their brain simply recalibrates to a more expensive normal. You essentially get on a treadmill where the speed just keeps increasing, but you're never actually moving forward. And it actually gets worse, thanks to something called the Diderot Effect. So this is named after the 18th century philosopher Denis Diderot. The story goes that he received this beautiful scarlet robe as a gift, but suddenly his old desk didn't match the luxury of the new robe, so he replaced it. Then, of course, he had to replace his chair and then his rug. One single upgrade triggered a massive cascade of upgrades, all driven by this subconscious need to match a certain lifestyle. High earners are constantly pressured into matching their peers, absorbing every single raise into a bigger, more expensive life.
Section 1. Expensive investing myths, the mechanical traps.
If psychology is the first hurdle, bad mechanics are definitely the second. $500,000, $500,000, that is the true staggering cost of the, it's just a 1% fee myth. Listen to this. If you have a $200,000 portfolio growing over 30 years, giving up just 1% to a financial advisor doesn't cost you 1% of your wealth. Because that fee compounds against you every single year on a growing balance, it literally eats $500,000 of your potential retirement. You think you're paying for Wall Street expertise, but honestly, you're often just paying for an incredibly expensive handshake. Another massive, expensive myth is that you can somehow time the market. Let's say Tyler and Sarah both had 10 grand to invest right before the dot-com crash in the year 2000. Tyler panics, pulls his money out, and waits for the perfect right time to get back in. Sarah? She does absolutely nothing. She completely ignores her portfolio. 2 decades later, Sarah tripled her money to over $30,000. Tyler's attempt to outsmart the market left him with just 17 grand. Sarah won by literally doing nothing at all.
There is a famous saying in investing: a crash isn't a funeral, it's a clearance sale. When the market drops 30%, every instinct in your body screams at you to sell. But panicking during a market drop permanently locks in your losses. Historically, every single major crash in market history was followed by a recovery that eventually surpassed the previous peak. The people who lose the most aren't the ones who hold. They're the ones who return their merchandise at 60% off by selling at the absolute bottom.
So, the crucial point here is understanding the difference between emotional math and actual math, especially when we're talking about debt. Emotional math tells you, hey, all debt is evil. You must destroy it before you can even think about investing. But actual math, that tells us that cheap debt, meaning anything below 5 or 6%, is incredibly powerful leverage. Aggressively paying off low-interest debt before you start investing is a shockingly expensive mistake. Just how expensive? $170,000. That is exactly how much wealth is lost over 30 years by rushing to put an extra $500 a month toward a 4% student loan instead of putting that money into the market from day one. Every dollar you use to kill cheap debt is a dollar that misses years of compounding at 8 or 10%. Your early dollars are literally your most powerful dollars.
Section 2. The Tale of Two Paths, Marcus versus Derek. Let's look at a real-world application of this to prove once and for all that retiring early is a math problem, not a salary bracket. Take Marcus and Derek, two guys from Columbus, Ohio. They started from the exact same place, same street, same school, same starting salary of $52,000 at age 24. But fast forward to age 40, and a massive, life-altering wealth gap has opened up between them. Marcus is sitting on $11,000 in savings, still waiting for the right time to invest. Derek? He has $847,000 invested. And get this, Derek never got a massive inheritance or won the lottery. His peak salary was barely higher than Marcus's. The gap between them was built on Derek using what we like to call the cheat code, being average. Derek built his wealth not with crypto or some flashy startup investments, but by utilizing boring, completely average index funds. Over a 15-year period, a basic index fund beats roughly 90% of actively managed funds run by professionals. Derek just automated his investments into total market index funds and let the math do the heavy lifting.
Section 3. The Math of Freedom.
So how exactly did Derek pull this off? Let's break down the offensively simple math formula he used on a random Saturday afternoon to engineer his exit from the rat race. This is the core of the FIRE movement: financial independence, retire early. It comes down to 4 basic steps. First, calculate your exact FIRE number. Second, focus aggressively on optimizing your savings rate, not necessarily your income. Third, automatically redirect to every raise you get. And fourth, as we just saw, make boring, low-cost index funds your default. Let's look a little closer at step 1.
This right here is the foundation of early retirement, the 4% rule. The rule simply states that if you have a portfolio large enough that 4% of it covers your annual expenses, you can withdraw that amount every single year indefinitely. So to find your target number, you just multiply your annual expenses by 25. If you spend $48,000 a year, your FIRE number isn't some vague multi-million-dollar guess. It's exactly $1.2 million. Once you have a target, retirement turns from a mystery into a countdown.
And that brings us to the immense power of step 2, your savings rate. If you save 10% of your income starting at age 24, it takes 46 years to reach your goal. But simply shifting your savings rate from 10% up to 40%, that shaves a massive 26 years off your working life. You go from retiring at 70 down to retiring at 44. Your savings rate matters dramatically more than your total income ever will.
Now, if jumping to a 40% savings rate sounds totally impossible, remember the violent impact of consistency. Just $100 a month, redirected from spending into investing, grows to approximately $120,000 over 25 years. Small, consistent redirections are unbelievably powerful when you give them enough time to compound. Which brings us to the ultimate hack for boosting that savings rate: redirecting your raises. Every single time you get a raise, intercept 50% of the after-tax increase and automatically route it straight to your investments before it ever even hits your checking account. This prevents the Diderot Effect and lifestyle inflation automatically. Your money compounds quietly in the background, and because you never saw it in your budget, you never even feel pinched. It's genius.
Section 4. Defining your enough.
Let's tie all of this hard, mechanical math back to the psychology of spending we talked about at the very beginning of this explainer. Because all the math in the world won't save you if you don't know when to stop. You have to remember one fundamental truth. The goal was never just to earn more money. The goal was always to have more freedom. The only true way to dismantle hedonic adaptation is to draw a hard line in the sand and to find exactly what is enough for you. You have to decide what level of comfort constitutes genuine satisfaction for you rather than just social performance. So, I'm going to leave you with this one question. What is your enough? I challenge you to define your own finish line today, before society, your peers, and relentless marketing define it for you. Because once you define enough, every single dollar you earn past that point doesn't buy more stuff, it buys your freedom. Thanks so much for tuning into this explainer, and I really hope this completely changes how you view your very next paycheck.